My wife secretly drained our savings for her sister's wedding. You can just work overtime, she said. I replied, actually, I can't. Then I quit my high-stress job to start a small garden business. Her meltdown when the credit card bill arrived. Original post. I, 36 male, discovered 3 months ago that my wife, 34, had been systematically transferring money from our savings account to fund her sister's wedding. Not talking a few $100 here, $23,000. Our entire emergency fund gone. Found out the stupidest way possible. Was reviewing our taxes, needed the savings account statement, and noticed the balance was basically zero. We'd had almost $25,000 in there. Started going through transactions, and there they were, transfers every week for the past 4 months to my sister-in-law's account. $500 here, $800 there, one massive $4,000 drop. Confronted my wife that night. She was in the kitchen meal prepping like nothing was wrong. Hey, so I was looking at her savings account. She barely glanced up from her chicken breast. Okay, it's empty. She froze for like 2 seconds, then went back to cooking. Oh, yeah, my sister needed help with the wedding. The casual tone, like she'd borrowed my Netflix password, not our entire safety net. You gave her $23,000 without asking me. She's my sister. The wedding's in 2 months. They needed a venue deposit, catering, dress alterations, flowers. You know how expensive weddings are. I know how expensive having zero emergency savings is. She put down her knife, turned to me with this annoyed look. We could just rebuild it. You make good money. Work some overtime, pick up extra projects. We'll be fine. I stared at her. Work overtime? I'm already doing 60-hour weeks at minimum. So do 70. Other husbands do it. My brother-in-law works 2 jobs to support my sister. Your brother-in-law makes $15 an hour at a warehouse. I'm a project manager, making 6 figures under constant deadlines and stress. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please, you sit at a desk all day. It's not like you're doing manual labor. Just stay an extra hour or 2. Problem solved. That's when something in me just clicked. This woman, who I'd been married to for 8 years, genuinely believed my job was easy. Believed I could just work more to replace money she'd stolen. Because, yeah, taking money without permission is stealing, spouse or not. I was already burned out. Had been for a year. My boss was a nightmare. Deadlines were impossible. I'd started having chest pains from stress. Been thinking about making a change, but the salary was too good to walk away from. Except now my wife had just removed my biggest reason for staying, our savings cushion. Actually, I said super calmly, I can't work overtime. Why not? Because I'm quitting. Her face was priceless. Excuse me, I'm done. Been thinking about it for months. You just made the decision easier. You can't quit. How will we pay the mortgage? The car payments? My credit cards? Probably should have thought about that before spending our emergency fund on your sister's party. She started yelling then. How dare I make this decision without consulting her? How selfish I was being. How her sister deserved a nice wedding after everything she'd been through. Spoiler. Her sister's hardship was breaking up with one guy and immediately getting engaged to another one 3 months later. I let her rant. Then I went to the spare bedroom and started looking up business licenses. Update 1, 3 weeks later. So I actually did it. Put in my 2 weeks notice at work. My boss tried the whole, "we'll miss you" speech while looking visibly relieved he wouldn't have to deal with my burnout anymore. My wife's reaction went through stages. Stage 1, denial. You're not serious. You'll change your mind. Stage 2, anger. You're sabotaging our life. Stage 3, bargaining. Okay, fine. I'm sorry about the money. Just keep your job and we'll figure it out. Stage 4, more anger. My family thinks you're being abusive. Financial abuse is real. Never hit acceptance. Still hasn't, actually. The garden business thing isn't as random as it sounds. My grandfather owned a plant nursery, taught me everything about growing stuff before he died. I've been doing it as a hobby for years. Vegetables, herbs, some flowers. Neighbors would buy from me. Friends would request custom planters. Always thought it'd be cool to do it full-time, but the money was never there. Well, now the money definitely wasn't there, so might as well risk it. Use my last paycheck plus some savings I had in a separate account my wife didn't know about. Yeah, Learned that lesson early from my parents' divorce to buy commercial-grade greenhouse panels, seeds and starter plants in bulk, soil, fertilizer pots, basic website and business cards, permits and licenses. Set everything up in our backyard and rented a small plot from a community garden that was willing to let me sell from their farmer's market booth on weekends. My wife lost her mind when the greenhouse arrived. What is that? My business. You're growing plants? For money? Are you having a midlife crisis? Nope. Just starting over. This is insane. You made 6 figures. Now you're going to sell tomatoes. Heirloom tomatoes. Also herbs, microgreens, edible flowers. There's actually decent money in specialty produce. This is ridiculous. What happened to the man I married? He got tired of funding weddings he wasn't invited to. She wasn't invited either, by the way. Her sister's wedding was intimate family only, which apparently meant her side of the family only. My wife was just a bridesmaid, not even maid of honor. That honor went to the bride's work friend. But sure, let's drain our savings for it. The first month was rough financially. My income went from steady 6 figures to basically nothing while I got things established. My wife's job as a part-time dental hygienist brought in maybe $2,000 a month. Mortgage was $2,400. Her solution? Just go back to your old job. My solution? Cashed out my 401k. Yeah, took the penalty. Worth it to not hear her complain. But here's where it got interesting. The credit card bills started arriving. See, my wife had a credit card in her name that I was an authorized user on. We'd set it up years ago for travel rewards. She'd been using it to cover the shortfall in our regular expenses now that my income had dropped. Just swiping away. Figure $300 for groceries, $150 for gas, $200 for whatever. The statement came last week. $8,700. She opened it at the kitchen table. Watched her face go from confusion to shock to rage. $8,000? Yup. How did this happen? Well, when you spend money, it accumulates. Don't be smart. We can't pay this. Sounds like a you problem. It's your card, too. Actually, it's your card. I'm just an authorized user. Card's in your name. Debt's your responsibility. Her face went white. You're lying. Showed her the card agreement. Right there in black and white. Primary cardholder is responsible for all charges. But I can't afford this. I make $2,000 a month. Guess you better ask your sister for the money back. Wrong thing to say, apparently. She started screaming about how her sister's wedding was next month. Money was already spent. Deposits were non-refundable. Maybe you should work overtime, I said. Other wives do it. The look she gave me could have melted steel. Update 2, 6 weeks later. The sister's wedding happened 2 weeks ago. My wife went alone because I was at a farmer's market making $600 selling heritage tomatoes and fresh basil to rich people who think buying organic makes them good people. She came back from the wedding pissed. Apparently, the bride spent the entire reception complaining about costs and how rustic everything was because they couldn't afford the venue they really wanted. You know, the one that would have required even more of our money. My wife tried to guilt me. She was so stressed. The wedding would have been perfect if you hadn't quit your job. The wedding would have been perfect if she'd spent her own money. Meanwhile, the credit card situation got nuclear. The minimum payment alone was $350. My wife had maybe $200 left after her car payment and phone bill. She tried to get me to cover it. We're married. We're supposed to help each other. Like how you help yourself to our savings. I paid you back. She hadn't. Not a dollar. She tried going to her parents. They're retired, living on fixed income. Her dad listened to the whole story and told her, "Sweetie, you made your bed." Her mom was more sympathetic but couldn't help financially. Did offer this gem, though. Maybe if you'd been a better wife, he wouldn't have quit. That caused a whole family fight I heard about secondhand. Her sister, the bride, called me personally. "You're destroying my sister's credit because you're having some kind of breakdown. Your sister destroyed her own credit by spending money she didn't have on your wedding. She was being a good sister, and I was being a good husband until she stole from me. It's not stealing if you're married." I hung up, but the real chaos started when my wife tried to get a personal loan to pay off the credit card. Got denied. Tried 3 different banks. All denials. Turns out when you make $24,000 a year and have $8,700 in credit card debt, banks aren't super eager to help. She came home crying, which honestly made me feel bad for about 5 seconds. Then she said, "This is your fault. If you just kept your job, none of this would be happening. If you just not stolen $23,000, I'd still have my job. I didn't steal. I borrowed, without asking. That's stealing." She threw a plate at the wall. It shattered. Then she locked herself in our bedroom. I cleaned up the plate and went back to my greenhouse. Had a huge order to fill. Some restaurant wanted 50 pounds of mixed herbs weekly. That's $400 a week right there. Not 6 figures, but it's mine, and it doesn't give me chest pains. The kicker happened yesterday. My wife had a meeting with a debt counselor. Came back looking defeated. They said I should consider bankruptcy. Ouch. That's it? Just ouch? What do you want me to say? Tell me. We're married. This affects both of us. Actually, since your name's the only one on the card, it only affects you. She started crying again. Real tears this time, not manipulation tears. I'm sorry. I really am. I messed up. I shouldn't have taken the money without asking. But please help me fix this. And here's the thing. Part of me wanted to. 8 years of marriage doesn't just evaporate. But the bigger part of me remembered her face when she said, "Just work overtime." The dismissiveness, the entitlement, the belief that my stress and health meant nothing compared to her sister's wedding photos. "I'll make you a deal," I said. "I'll help with the credit card if you agree to marriage counseling and you get your sister to pay back at least half of what you gave her." She can't. They're broke. They afforded a wedding. That money's spent. Then I guess you better figure it out. She called me heartless. Said I'd changed. That the man she married would never do this to her. The man you married also would never have quit his job. But you took that man's savings and told him to work harder. So here we are. Update 3. 10 weeks later. The divorce papers got served 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we're done. My wife filed first, which actually worked in my favor. Her lawyer was one of those strip mall types who took her case thinking she'd get alimony from her 6-figure earning husband. Surprise, I don't make 6 figures anymore. Made $11,000 total in my first 3 months of business. That's not great, but it's growing. Got 3 restaurant contracts now. Plus I'm supplying 2 local grocery stores with organic produce. Should hit $40,000 this year. Still way less than before, but the stress level? 0. Actually enjoy waking up. The divorce mediation was something else. Her lawyer started with demands. 50% of the house equity. Alimony for 3 years. Half my 401k. The part one didn't cash out. Her credit card debt paid by me. My lawyer, this older woman who'd handled my grandpa's estate, just smiled and pulled out bank statements. Your client transferred $23,000 from their joint savings without her husband's knowledge or consent. She then accumulated $8,700 in credit card debt after he left his job specifically because of her actions. She has no claim to alimony when she's the one who caused the financial situation. Her lawyer tried to argue about my potential earning capacity. My lawyer responded, he left a toxic work environment that was affecting his health. He started a legitimate business. You can't claim alimony based on what someone used to make. It went back and forth. Eventually settled on 50-50 house split. Fair, we both paid into it. No alimony. We keep our own debts. I keep my business and equipment. She gets her car and her credit card debt. She signed looking like she wanted to throw another plate. The house sold fast. Market's still decent. After paying off the mortgage and splitting the equity, I walked away with $67,000. She got the same. Found out later, she immediately used her half to pay off the credit card and her car. Left her with maybe $50,000. Heard through mutual friends she's moving back in with her parents and filing for bankruptcy anyway, because apparently she had other credit cards I didn't know about. Turns out the wedding wasn't her only spending spree. Her sister sent me a nasty message after the divorce finalized. Hope you're happy. You destroyed my sister's life over money. Replied, your sister destroyed her own life. I just stopped funding it. Blocked her and the whole family. As for me, took part of my house money and bought a bigger plot of land outside the city. Got a small house on it, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, nothing fancy. but it's got 3 acres. Built a proper greenhouse setup, got irrigation going, even started keeping bees for local honey sales. My ex-wife would hate it. She always wanted the big house in the suburbs, the nice cars, the appearances. Meanwhile, I'm out here in mud boots at 6 a.m. watering lettuce, and I've never been more content. Business is actually picking up. Made $3,800 last month, and it's only going to grow. Got contacted by a meal prep service wanting to contract exclusively with me for organic vegetables. That's $2,000 a month guaranteed right there. Money's still tight. Not gonna lie, there are moments I miss the fat paycheck. But then I remember my old boss screaming about deadlines, the panic attacks in the office bathroom, the chest pains that sent me to the ER twice thinking I was having a heart attack at 35. My blood pressure dropped 20 points since I quit. Sleep through the night now. Actually have time to see friends. My ex-wife posted on social media last week. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. I spent 8 years with someone who abandoned me the second things got hard. I didn't respond. Didn't need to. Mutual friends who know the real story already reached out. One of them commented, "Girl, you spent his savings on someone else's wedding and told him to work himself to death to replace it. He didn't abandon you when things got hard. He left when you made things impossible." She deleted the post an hour later. Got a message from my ex-mother-in-law yesterday. "I know you probably don't want to hear from us, but I wanted to say I'm sorry for how things ended. My daughter made poor choices, and I should have said something when I saw what was happening. I hope you're doing well. That was unexpected." Replied, "Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope she figures things out." Her sister got divorced 6 months after her wedding, by the way. Apparently, all that money bought them 3 months of marital bliss before they realized they actually hated each other. Guess the marriage wasn't the problem, they were. My ex-wife tried to use that as proof that the wedding money was wasted and I should help her. Through a mutual friend, not directly. I told the friend to tell her that ship sailed when she filed for divorce. Last I heard, she's working full-time now at a dental office and living in her parents' basement. Driving a used car she bought with what was left of her house money. Dating some guy she met on an app who also lives with his parents. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on my porch drinking coffee I made from beans I traded my honey for with a local roaster. Watching the sunrise over my vegetable rows. Got dirt under my fingernails and peace in my head. People ask if I regret leaving my career. Honestly, some days. Usually the days when my truck breaks down or equipment needs replacing and money's tight. But then I remember being on blood pressure medication at 35. Remember the panic attacks. Remember my wife's face when she said, "Just work overtime," like my health and sanity were nothing compared to her sister's party. And I remember thinking, there's got to be more to life than killing myself to fund other people's dreams while mine die in a cubicle. Turns out there is. It's smaller, quieter, and pays way less. But it's mine, and nobody can take it from me or tell me to just work harder to replace it when they mess up. The garden business isn't making me rich, but it's keeping me fed, housed, and sane. That's more than enough. My ex-wife wanted the life where money solved everything. I wanted the life where money wasn't everything. Took her draining our savings for me to figure out which one I'd rather have. Best $23,000 she ever spent, honestly. Just not in the way she intended.